And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Today we're previewing a little game called Who's for Dinner. No, this is not Guess Who's Coming for Dinner, but this is actually Who's for Dinner. This is a game where the tribes are getting together for a big cookout and everyone wants the honor of being eaten. So in essence, this is a game about cannibalism where you want to be the person who is eaten, usually. Now, before you run screaming for the hills, this is not a gruesome game at all. It's done in a very lighthearted, silly kind of fashion. It's a very lighthearted, silly kind of game. Let's take a look at it. The game revolves around some cards. We have some meal cards in the middle. We have appetizer, first course, entree, and dessert. Okay, do you want to be those people? Well, what we're going to be doing is we have a whole deck of cards. And in this deck, we have different cards, and the cards are differentiated by their name and the picture and the text on them, but mostly by the icon in the corner. You have spices, you can see there. You have the cards with an A and R. A is an action and R is a reaction that you can play. And then there's cooking pots and there's fire. And so gameplay is going to take place as we go around the table, and what you're going to do is you're going to have 5 cards in your hand. You can put as many item cards as you want to into play in front of you, and you can discard other ones. So for example, I'll say, oh, I have a cooking pot and I have pepper and I have garlic. I'm going to put them into play. I can also play as many action cards as I want. So this table scrap says, play this card to pull one item card from the discard pile into your hand. After doing so, this card goes in the discard pile. So I can get rid of this card to take a card out of the discard pile. And I can do that. At the end of my turn, I will draw cards back up into my hand, so I have 5 cards. And play passes to the next person. However, what I can do, if I ever have at least 1 spice and a pot and a fire in front of me at the end of my turn, instead of drawing, I won't draw back up to 5 cards, and instead I declare that I've been eaten. And I discard the cards that I used, and the spices that I use, each spice has victory points on it, and I'm going to put those in a pile to show the victory points that I've gotten. However, I can't use the same spice more than once. So if I've used pepper and garlic for this one, which is going to give me 3 points, I can't use pepper and garlic again. That doesn't stop me from using ginger root, or from using onion, or from using dill later on, but I can't use garlic and pepper in the future. Also, I look and see, have I accomplished what this card in the middle of the table says? Here it says the first player to be eaten receives this card. Great, that's an extra point. Here you have to be the second person to be eaten and have exactly 2 spices. If that had happened, I would get this card. Otherwise, when someone's eaten, this card is discarded. The third one here is if you're eaten with only new spices. If that doesn't happen, then and someone's eaten, then the card's discarded. But you can see how these cards get progressively higher in points. Dessert, you have to get only 1 spice in your pot. And so that's how it goes. Now, that's not the only thing that's going on, because there are also some cards with plates on, like this clean hands. This says, even on an island peopled by cannibals, sanitation is important. If you have this card face up in front of you and someone else is eaten, then you can score this point. And so these cards are out in the game, and they basically allow you, like the fork and knife, when someone else is eaten, you join into participation and you get points. So you have to be careful that when you are eaten yourself, because you declared that you don't give points to other players. Most of the action cards are cards that will let you steal stuff from other people, or hurt other people's cards that they have in front of you and make them discard their cards. But for every action, there's usually some kind of reaction that can stop it. And so the game will continue. It's not a very long game. It will continue until the dessert card has been taken or discarded. At that point, players are simply going to total up the points in their pile that they have gotten, and the player with the highest score is the winner. As you can see, this is going to be a game that's very simple. It's going to appeal to people who like take-that games where you are playing cards with other people, because there's a lot of that going on. In the games I've played, there's been a lot of actions and reactions. I'm taking this card, I'm taking this card. And people are almost afraid to put cards in front of them because until they're sure, because If you put a card in front of you, other people are going to take it and steal it. Games are very fast. I mean, we're talking 15, 20 minutes maximum for these games, unless you sit there and go back and forth. But it's not that difficult to eventually get someone to get the cards they need and to declare themselves eaten. And so, like I said, there's nothing gruesome on the card at all. I mean, you look at the cards like this, and it shows a guy swimming in the pot. It gives you the idea of the old Bugs Bunny cartoons where he's sitting in the pot and the guy's running around him. It's that kind of style. And so I think that this will have a vast appeal to people who like, a bit of humor. I'm sure the jokes will go back and forth, pass the pepper type situations. But this is basically, as you can see from what I just did, and as a reminder again, the components in this game are prototype components, so they may change and things may change. Watch the Kickstarter page for that. And so take a look at the Kickstarter, and if you want to jump in on this, you have an opportunity to do this, to find a nice, small, light card game that you can play that has take that elements towards other players.